Frank has returned with True Fact Animal Awards.
Oh God, I just read the title and
Oh yeah, this
excited.
one is Tangleworms, Creepiest Dave, and much more. I don't know who the fuck Dave is.
Tangleworms are, but I don't want to know what tangleworms are.
It's like when I don't trim my bush for months. Tangleworms. I go full Mufasa sometimes. Anyway, Frank recently...
Mom, Dad, nephew, if you're watching this, why?
Bush. Frank recently put out on his community page of his YouTube channel his fear for the state of YouTube, and that's sad. This is one of my favorite channels on all of YouTube and has been for a really, really long time. I mean, Frank is an OG, so hopefully a bunch of people will go ahead and subscribe to his channel if they haven't, and support him and check out some of his videos, because he has been putting out awesome stuff forever, and there's tons of it. And to see somebody of his, esteem get shook and a little bit worried about the state of the platform is rather worrisome. So I'd like to take a moment to say thank you, Frank, for putting out all these badass videos. Know that your fans are behind you, and I can't wait to watch this video you just put out, even though Nikki's acting apprehensive about it for some reason.
I think that it's awesome, the work that he does, the effort he puts into his videos.
He's a very funny guy.
I just don't like learning about
Creepy
things
crawlies
that I could do without. Yeah, the parasites and, all the things that could...
But sending some loves to Frank's way. Glad that he's still doing his damn thing. All we can do in this situation is enjoy the stuff we've got while we've got it, and have the best time that we can. Sure. And I am excited to see what kind of freakish shit Frank has to show us today. Are you ready for this?
Let's find out.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the True Facts Animal Awards. Celebrating animals with awards. Jerry, how is this appropriate? It doesn't look like the fountains in Vegas, Jerry. It looks like whatever. In the category of close-knit friends, the winner is the California blackworm. Now, many animals huddle together for warmth or protection, but the California blackworm takes it to a whole new level. These worms are about 1 centimeter long, and under the right conditions, they come together to form an incredible tangled mess.
What?
But these worms aren't just huddling close together willy-nilly. They loop and twist around each other and form braids, and the resulting ball of worms is like a connected mass. This mass, it turns out, has some unusual physical properties. It acts a bit like a non-Newtonian fluid, like cornstarch and water. If you happen to have a tube of these worms lying about, and you put a metal ball in it for fun, the tangle of worms acts sort of like a thick liquid, letting the ball sink to the bottom. But if you draw a ball of these worms from a great height, well, not a great height, a good height, they act more like a solid, like a lump. Here, you can see somebody playing around with a lump of about 50,000 of them.
No.
Doesn't look like much. Has a kind of cow turd vibe, doesn't it?
Cow turd
vibe. This lump can do things. Look at this. These worms like it wet. So if you put a ball of them onto a table that's not wet, watch what they do. They start searching around for water, but sort of as a team. Now, if they can't find any water and start to dry out, they come back together and try to minimize their surface area by creating a ball shape so they don't lose moisture. Kind of feel sad for the one that got left behind there.
For real.
In this way, the worms in the middle can survive extended periods of dehydration. You can see that these blobs can often move as a unit, and how they do it is pretty crazy. Here's a small tangle that's trying to get away from the heat. I mean, it looks like a friggin' octopus. You can see there's worms on the leading edge that are pulling, while the worms in the middle sort of curl up and lift the mass off the surface. Here's a bigger one so you can see it in action. The blob actually moves slower than an individual worm can move. But in a blob, more worms get to the finish line and fewer are left behind. And that's impressive. But come on, the most amazing thing is they don't get stuck. I mean, you've seen what a necklace drawer looks like. When these worm balls have to come apart, you'd expect some knots and some awkward conversations. But it turns out that changes in their environment, like temperature, cause each individual worm to change how often and how tightly it twists and turns. And these little changes in individual worm behavior allow the group to form something that's sort of like a solid. And this is the coolest. The joining together can take some minutes. But watch this. This next clip's in real time. If they have to, they skedaddle like the cops showed up at a high school party. And what's more, there's no knots. In the category of, oh, so that's where it is, science hippies discovered evidence of a functional clitoris in dolphins.
Oh
By
my
functional,
God.
they mean that it gives pleasure to the female during intercourse with males, but also during interactions with other females, which apparently use their snouts, flippers, and flukes. And just like the human clitoris, it takes a team of scientists to find it, Jerry. Where the hell are people looking if they can't find it? This is where it is in the dolphin. I bet you can guess where they looked. Here's a clue. It wasn't behind the ear. And if you do get lost, do what you do in the subway. Ask for directions. Don't just stumble around in circles until someone politely asks you to leave. I mean, don't get me started. It's a sensitive topic. Why you should always wear pants to a picnic? Well, hold on. Let's back up. There's something called the ACG Case Reports Journal. Honestly, it's a bunch of assholes. Like, actually, it's the American College of Gastroenterology. You see the logo with the stick and the snake? I think it's a reference to how they used to do colonoscopies or something like that. Anyways, there's this journal. Good cover image, by the way. You can sort of make out the colon, and it's broken. Clever. But doctors find all sorts of things in their examinations. And they write about it here.
Oh,
like,
God.
apparently there's something called cocaine gut. Had no idea. And look at this, a case of auto-brewery syndrome, where a man was apparently getting drunk from alcohol he made inside his body. I mean, that's a cheap date. And then there's this one. An unusual finding, and I'm glad they said unusual, of a ladybug on screening colonoscopy.
What?
There's pictures, too. As much as people complain about colonoscopies, I'm pretty sure it's not as bad as being an insect of the field and forest in someone's ass. That's bad enough. And then someone gets
Those things bite,
The amazing
dude.
thing is, in the third shot, the ladybug turns around. It's like, all right, doc, as long as we're both here, you can have a look in mine. Patient wakes up, is all confused when he gets charged double. You pay by the hole, not the size of it.
Oh my God,
Are you
dude.
afraid of the dark? It's nighttime now. Go to bed, everybody go to bed. I'm just kidding with you. It's nighttime. It's nighttime. Boo! Where is the sun? Where did it go? I mess with the fishes. Brilliant.org is an excellent way to learn math and computer science. Listen, if you're planning on having an intimate relationship with an AI someday, you'll want to learn its love languages. Math and computer science, I mean, that's pillow talk right there. No need to get intimidated either. Brilliant makes learning approachable and fun, even with topics that maybe weren't so fun the first go-round. There are thousands of lessons on things like quantum objects, computational biology, algorithm fundamentals, and they come in bite-sized, highly visual, interactive lessons that keep you engaged. I'll tell you, you'll wind up learning about things you didn't even know you wanted to learn about. In all this science and technology, it's moving quickly, isn't it? And for your job, or just your confidence, it helps to know how the world works and which concepts are driving it all forward, or whatever direction it's headed. To try everything Brilliant has to offer, free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/ZayFrank, or you can click on the link in the description. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Brilliant has been a long-time sponsor of this show, and I'm a fan because they're good at what they do. Check them out today. Here comes Creepy Dave. Hey, everybody call me Creepy Dave. Hey, crows. Okay, it's too much crows. Wait, who's that? All right. Okay, here comes a Creepy Dave. That's what people call me. How you doing? Okay, you walk away. Uh-oh. Creepy Dave made a pee-pee. It's everywhere. Whoopsie. Creepy Dave.
What the fuck?
So in the 1990s, some divers were diving, as they do, off the coast of Japan. And they came across something that looked like this. Granted, there's a lot of weird shit down there, but this was a mystery. So the science hippies decided to check it out. One thing they found was that if you were near one of these underwater goatsies, you would often find one of these little fuckers lurking about. You know what that is? That's a tiny pufferfish, Torquegenna albimaculosus. I know what you're thinking. The pufferfish. Sure, they're cute, and then they puff up, thinking they're better than the rest of us. They got the teeth like the people do. And some eat clams.
Have you seen that?
Mind you, without proper table manners. Oh, but they don't have hands. I mean, even so, you could make it look more polite. Anyway, but these pufferfish are very small, only around 10 centimeters. And it turns out they're the ones creating those 2-meter circles. And apparently it's some sort of a sex pad. The whole thing kicks off with a male pufferfish choosing where the center will be. Then, in a series of straight lines, it starts excavating. But this isn't your run-of-the-mill excavation. This is excavation by shaking your ass. Takes some doing. In the beginning, it doesn't look like much, but over time, you can start to see the peaks and troughs of the circles emerge. The whole pattern is made by a series of roughly straight-line runs. Some go in, some go out, but by watching the pufferfish, science hippies were able to extrapolate some simple rules that they could use to make a simulation. Now, the structure of the whole thing has some interesting properties. The larger valleys on the outside guarantee that no matter which direction the water is flowing, at least half of the channels will point the flow inward. The center, which is a bit sunken, has less water movement. And one of the things that the pufferfish is doing while it excavates is stirring up very fine particles of sand, which then make their way to the center and settle. So the middle of the circle is quite plush, a place you might want to make your babies. The whole process takes like a week. And near the end, there's some adorable finishing touches. One, the male decorates the outside peaks with little clamshells. We know how he got there.
Put in
Two,
the
he makes
work.
this sort of beautiful wavy maze pattern in the fine center sand. All
Look at
this
him.
to get the female pufferfish's attention. And when she gets there, you can tell he's excited. Are you seeing this? I made the whole thing. I mean, really just using my ass. If it goes well, she drops some eggs and he fertilizes them. And look at this. While that's happening, he bites her cheek. This is romantic. But then she f***s off and leaves him to look after the eggs. And the fancy circle thing sort of deteriorates, there's no upkeep, until he's in a sort of run-down bachelor pad with a whole bunch of larvae. I mean, he actually does look kind of happy. I did it. In the category of the most unfortunate microphone, you'll have to keep your eyes out for it. So there's a number of caterpillars that react to sound. The caterpillar of the monarch, for example, gets all metal. Bang your head, bang your head. The caterpillar of the horned spanworm moth gets straight up freaky, has these inflatable tentacles on its back. And then you have Cape Lappet caterpillars, which look a bit more like a muppet having an erection. It's thought that this is a defense against parasitoid wasps, but it does also draw some attention, doesn't it? However, did you know that caterpillars can also make noise as a defense? No, this is not the unfortunate microphone. Some caterpillars rub their mouth parts together to make clicking or chirping noises.
I don't like it. I don't like
Others,
it.
like Amorpha juglandus, make sound by forcing air through pores on their back segments.
What the
Sounds like a polite way of saying fart. Excuse me, I just forced some air out of a pore on my back segment. Oh, and it's not that microphone either. Apparently the squeaking works. It scares the shit out of this bird. The caterpillar of Nycerix magna makes noise by forcing air through its mouth parts. Also freaks out a bit, as would you, if somebody came at you with a pair of forceps the size of your hips. That's not that mic either. Svekadina abati also vocalizes, and if you slow it down, you can witness a fundamental law of nature. Everything sounds like a fart if you slow it down enough. The caterpillar of Amphium floridensis also makes sounds by pushing air through its mouth. Kind of terrifying, but when you put it all together, it sounds like it's spitting beats. Literally. And no, that's not the microphone either. This is the microphone. To prove that the caterpillar was making sounds out of its mouth, they went ahead and mic'd up the rest of the animal. So there was a microphone whose only job was to prove that sound didn't come out of the caterpillar's anus. You know, imagine getting that job assignment. And then you gotta deal with all the shit from your parents. I told you to go into a decent profession like rock and roll or hip hop. But no, you wanted to be a science microphone. And look at you now. A perfectly good microphone put to waste, not measuring sound from a teenage butterfly's anus. At least you could have gotten the one that forces air out the pore on its back segment. Backhand, forehand, backhand, and forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand, and finish. It's pretty cool, right? I teach myself, you know. Like this move, it's hard. You gotta practice, like a lot of practice. You have to stretch.
Oh my God, look at that
toes,
thing,
tippy
dude.
toes. It feels good. Oh, that's nice. Whoa. Who's that? That's annoying. Why don't you come down here, bird? Maybe talk or punch to the face. Or maybe, oh, I don't know, maybe it's taller than me. Like maybe up here. And then, yeah, forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand, forehand. Yeah. It's pretty cool being me.
What'd you think about them worms?
Okay, but apart from the worms, the video was very cute and informative, and I hated the worms. The Tangle worms, like, I don't like worms. You know, but the most impressive thing was in this whole video.
What?
The ladybug. How do you get a ladybug up your butthole? Unless you purposefully put it there to be like, I'll get a colonoscopy, let's just surprise the doctors.
All I know is
like
that thing can bite. Ladybugs can bite you.
Oh, they don't
Hold
stink.
on.
That's the other thing that looks like a ladybug. Apparently ladybugs don't have that smell.
I want to find out.
How to get a ladybug up your butthole?
No.
Heck yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. While ladybugs are beneficial to species control outdoors, they can be a nuisance indoors. They can also bite you. While their bites aren't known to be lethal or overly harmful, some people can experience allergic reactions to their mere presence.
I don't know if you remember, but where I grew up, it was like in the woods. Like, I didn't have neighbors. I was in the woods. And I don't know why, but the government was trying to control some sort of, like, insect or something. Or, I don't remember.
Ladybug outbreak? Is that what was going on?
They, like, you know how, like, if there's, like, this huge forest fire, they'll take airplanes and they'll put, like, buckets of water.
They release them?
They released that, and I don't know if they were ladybugs or, like, those Asian beetles that look like ladybugs, but I think that they were the Asian, like, beetle things.
Right.
That they look like ladybugs, and they stink. Like, they get on you, they left that, like, weird little yellow. Yeah. But where I grew up, I don't know if they just fucking dumped buckets of it over top of my house, but for like a 10-year span growing up, in the summer and in the fall, well, spring, summer, fall, we would have like, I swear to God, what would be at least like 100 ladybugs in almost every window, and you would have to go through and try to like fucking, like, I feel bad about this, but like vacuum them up because like you couldn't get them out of your house.
I remember exactly what you're talking about, working with
like
my dad and seeing
like
them all over.
Anymore.
They'd be like all over the sides of people's houses, like, and window sills and stuff. Yeah, no, crazy. I remember when that happened. It is crazy. What a crazy video. Zip Frank, once again, bringing out just some wild shit. Ladybug in the butthole. That's
Ladybug in the butthole.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't even know that.
He's a hilarious guy. If you haven't checked out more of his stuff, then I would recommend you do so.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed our reaction to this, you could always give us a like, subscribe to the channel. You could even give us recommendations for videos you want to see us react to in the future.
You can do that down in the comments. You can do that on our Discord. And if you want to be here live for our reactions, we go live every Friday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. And join us.
Yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.